Assalamu alaikum. Let's cook. Okay, TMZ and their big propaganda machine doing their job, putting the camera in the faces of these detached Negropeans out here in this town. You know, black people who don't have full access to their humanity in these predominantly white towns in Mississippi where Nolan Wells is from. So the public can say, oh, well, look, there's no racism in the town. Look at the coach.
His parents think happened here? Do they believe this was just an unfortunate accident, tragedy, or that it's something more sinister?
I was in Ocean Springs when it happened, and I was still in disbelief when I got the news that Nolan was missing. So when I got all the details surrounding the case, that they told me he was out at Horn Island, and he came up missing or whatnot. I talked with his dad, and we just had a conversation. That was kind of after the fact when they had found his body, because I was just giving the family their respect that they deserve, and when everything first took place. But I was sharing all the detail that the family was sharing, you know, just putting the word out there, and just so everybody could be on notice and everybody be paying attention.
When you say you talked to the dad, did he kind of accept this as an accident and a tragedy, or was he more suspicious?
Well, no, he was more so just searching for answers right now, because it had just happened and there was a lot of questions still unanswered.
Usually high school football stars have a pretty close relationship with their coaches. What can you tell us about just Nolan as a human being?
Nolan was a great young man, you know, with a big personality. Everybody gravitated to Nolan because of his smile. He just wanted everybody to be happy, and he was a joy to coach, a joy to be around. To sum Nolan up, you know, long story short, Nolan is a guy that I would let date my daughter.
I mean, there were rumblings that he may have gotten into an argument, that there might have been a confrontation or something like that. I mean, was he a guy who would stand up, you know, where, you know, his hackles would go up, or was he more of a get-along type guy?
He more of a get-along type guy. Don't get me wrong. Now, if something happened, he'll defend himself, but I knew right then in that video that wasn't Nolan.
One of the theories is that that he was drinking and that there was a riptide that day, and that maybe he got caught in a bad current out there. Knowing him as an athlete, and we've heard that he did know how to swim, would that surprise you if he ended up in that situation?
I mean, it would surprise me, you know, that happened, you know, but like I said, man, I'm just waiting till the family, you know, give out, you know, details of what they done gathered.
You know, was there racial tension at this school?
No, I don't think it was no racial intention at the school, you know, from my experience, because you have, you know, predominant white school, you have black kids there, and they all, you know, played and grew up together and got along. Now, you know, some stuff might have happened that I didn't see, so, you know, I can't speak wholeheartedly on it, but from what I did see, it was a tight-knit community, you know what I mean?
It's a tight-knit community, huh, Coach? Stand by. He's about to find out who's not included in that tight-knit, guaranteed. So this is what they're doing, people. They're putting the cameras in the faces of these detached Negroes where they know what kind of answer they're going to get. And I bet that there are some black people in this Mississippi town here that get it, that understand. Not many. I bet you it's not many, but some. But they're just like, listen, we stuck here for now. We got to live here. If we start talking and telling the truth, we on our own, and we definitely not going to get on camera and say something as stupid as there's no racism, there's not an issue with racism, these situations aren't racially motivated. We're not going to do that. You know, so I get it. I get why there may be a few black people out there who just say, you know what, we got to live here for however many more years or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But the ones who they do give that camera to and put them on a big media outlet, they're going to fit right into the propaganda machine's plans. And it's going to work well. It's working out well for them. You know what I mean? They know who to put a camera in front of. If you can't answer the question the way it needs to be answered the right way, don't say nothing at all. Why volunteer and say yes to TMZ? Every white person in that town knows that this is a racist place. Even the white people know. People like Noah, he can play football, he can stay in line, he can go out to eat. That's it. You better dare not get out of line and question anything them white folks do. They know their Negro place out there. This is what kind of town they live in, you know? And these media outlets know we don't even need white people anymore. We can put the camera in front of one of these Negro bots like this coach, get the job done. They'll do their job like a fish takes the water. That's what they do. Who needs white people when you have Negroes like this coach? You know, people, oh, what was he supposed to say? What was he supposed to say? He's not supposed to say anything. He's supposed to say no. If you can't tell the truth, if you can't say what's really going on out there with your people, if you can't keep it 100, don't take any interviews, don't say nothing. I respect somebody more who does that. That man agreed to this interview for a reason, to say that there's no racism. That's it. That's the only reason why they brought him on there. Why didn't y'all get the white head coach? They could have got the white head coach to do this. They got him to say just that. That's why. They got the assistant coach or whatever coach he is. He's not the head coach. They wanted a black face like this. Somebody who knows exactly what to say that they need. Oh, no, it's not racially motivated or something like that. Who needs the saltines when you got graham crackers like this? People, here's what we got to understand, I think, man. A lot of people out in this Mississippi area, people like this coach, and people all throughout the world, whatever, throughout the United States, people like this coach and the 17-year-old best friend who they got on camera to speak, and the rest of them who they'll get on camera later. We're not the same kind of black people, y'all. You know what I mean? These are black people who are under Caucasian European hypnosis. They have a spiritual illness. So these people like them, you know, people like this also, they know how to automatically take their little Negro place as an inferior human who's not worthy of having full access to their humanity. They know that. Just let me play football and eat and I'm good. That's it. I'm 100, just off of that. That's all they want to do. So when these white folks ask something like, do you think race was a factor if they're being interviewed, or are there any racial issues? People like them are programmed to say no already. They're programmed to say no, but you got to understand they have already accepted their roles as being inferior little Negro beings who don't have full access to their humanity. They are the black people who have accepted the fact that their humanity is not the same worth as a white person. They already accepted that. They don't even have to say it. They'll show you in their actions. These are the type of black people who say things like, well, you know what they're gonna do when you black, so why keep doing it? Those kind of people. And they say it in a way where they have accepted some kind of, injustice or some kind of racial disparity or something. They don't say it, for something that we know is straight foolishness. With situations where it's just straight foolishness and we know, listen, we know we black. We can't be doing that. Not one of them. We talking about something where a person is legit. They'll say it for anything. You know what I mean? It'd be a situation like this. Somebody say, hey, man, they at work, right? And say, man, I came back from lunch 30 seconds late. This is my first time coming back from lunch 30 seconds late. And the supervisor, Molly Crackerski, she wrote me up. But Hunter and Emily, they come back from lunch 15 minutes late every single day. She hasn't wrote them up one time. I did this one time, I'm 30 seconds late. She writes me up. And a person like that coach and these other Negro bots, they'll say, well, you can't do that. You black. That's cowardly, like a coward. These people have accepted their roles as inferior little Negro beings. They don't have to say it, they already did. So when they're asked, is there an issue with race? Did race have something to do with it? This, and that. They'll say no. And that's what they really believe because they don't see what you see. They don't have the same worth for themselves that you may have for yourself. You get what I'm saying? We're not the same kind of black people. Unfortunately, y'all, we not. That they not like us. That slogan or whatever, that goes for people in your own family too, some of them. You might go into a situation like in a gym, right? And you may see a noose hanging. You may see a noose hanging down or whatever, and you like, oh nah, man, come on, man, they gotta do something about this. Somebody like that guy, he'll say, oh, it's just horseplay, man. It's just horseplay. That's what kind of people they are. Check, when I learned about this, right, a while ago, I remember I was probably maybe 23, 24. I was working at a place called Wyeth Research. I was working there, and of course, black people were the minority. This is a pharmaceutical company in a research facility operations department, right? So there were black people who worked there. There weren't that many black scientists or lawyers or nothing like that, but there was like a group of black people who worked in certain departments. They all knew each other. And at the time, right, I was the youngest black one working there. Everybody there was at least, could have been my parents, or they were 10 years plus older than me. At that time, I was like, I was the youngest black one working there. And I remember, and I even wrote about this in the book, The N-Word is No Secret in the Service. I remember the company decided that for Black History Month, remember this is a pharmaceutical company. For Black History Month, the company decided that they're going to have fried chicken and biscuits to celebrate Black History Month. It was so bad that white people was like, are they serious? They really did? You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, this is wild. So the person who's the head of the research facility operations department, who would be somebody who oversees something like this, he was like my boss's boss. Dude's name was Bob Engelman, right? I knew him. He was okay. I mean, we played softball together, whatever, stuff like that. He wasn't no crab. He wasn't no Mr. Krabs type. Just a white dude, right? So I was like, man, I gotta say something about this, man. About this Black History Month thing they got going on, chicken and waffles. I mean, chicken and biscuits. So one day I'm in the wing of the building. My room was in the wing, the same part of the building as his. So I knock on his door. He see me. He said, hey, come on in. So I came in. I was like, hey, Bob. So check. I need to talk to you about this situation here. He said, well, what's going on? So I said, this whole chicken and biscuits thing for Black History Month, I don't think it's right. I think it's degrading, man. I'm feeling some kind of way about that. There's too many other ways that a pharmaceutical company could acknowledge black people in science. What he said next blew my head off. He said, oh, I talked to the other black employees and they said that they were okay with it. I was like, dang, what I'm gonna do, man? I just stood there feeling stupid. Well, I was sitting, then I said, okay, I'm done. I was okay, and that was it. And I was feeling some kind of way, man. I didn't speak to these black people for like a week. I couldn't stay like that with them because I liked them and I had some kind of respect for them. These are people who were, they had children my age and stuff like that. So I couldn't throw shade at them like I would have if they was one of my peers or something like that. But I was like, damn, yo, that's wild. I learned something that day. But this coach, stay away from people like him if you can, man. I mean, because the same way they feel about themselves when white folks are in the equation, imagine how they feel about you. So you know how people like him feel about himself around black people. Imagine how he feel about you. You know what I mean? He has no connection to you as a black person unless you're playing football. The same way they feel about themselves around a white person, just imagine how they'll feel about you if you're in a situation with a white person. So don't trust these people. These Negroes are dangerous, man. Like that coach, people like him, pay attention around these people. They're dangerous, man. So something that's wrong to you ain't wrong to them. These people have a spiritual illness, man. He will always make an excuse for white people's behavior. He'll never say anything or tell the truth about these people that he thinks will slight them or make them feel some kind of way. He'll always find a way to wiggle out of it. Y'all know people like that. And here's the deal. Here's my opinion with this Nolan Wells situation, man. It's a big topic buzzing on social media. People are all on social media, all kinds of content creators making all kinds of videos and talking about it. I get it. They got to. People coming out saying things, giving points, giving proofs and matters of facts. And, oh, look what this person said. Oh, look what that one said. Look at this here. They did this. These people did that. Look at this cover. Look at what they showing. They know they did this. Man, to be honest with you, none of it is interesting to me anymore. It ain't. The bottom line is this. White people in that area are a tight unit. Everybody's going to lie. They're going to cover it up to get over. And they don't care how no black people feel. You know, there's nothing I can see that comes up in this that makes me say, wow, anymore. You know, no statement from anybody, nobody giving their, you know, no white girlfriend giving a proof, or some other guy, he came in and he said this. And it's like, wow, look at what he said. Look, he was there at this time. I've seen it 100 times, people. Cases like this, these people are not going to get in trouble. And unfortunately, this will not be the last Nolan Wells. Just like the last person before Nolan Wells that we made videos about when he was alive wasn't the last one. Nolan Wells was the next one, okay? So when them things happen, maybe he would see it and just scroll right past, just like somebody's scrolling right past his and not looking at this story and this situation like, oh, that could be me. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big problem. I just hope that people don't get all caught up in this on social media. They said this person said this, and the big story part or whatever, and just focus on what's important. Don't put yourself in these dangerous situations, man. Bottom line. The bottom line is the bottom line. You still here, your people still here. This is a learning experience. I ain't putting the value on nobody's life at all, like Nolan Wells or anybody else. And people should be very upset about this. But listen, Kendrick Johnson went somewhere he had to be. He went to school, and then white people put him in wrestling mats. He was going to school. He had to go to school. Rasheem Carter, a young black man, he was going to work to support his family. Them white people hunted him down, gave him to his mom in a box, skeleton. You know what I mean? These are people who are somewhere that they need to be. These people going out giving these white people their noose, you know what I mean, saying hang me and all that, it's kind of exhausting. It's not a game, yo, it's for real. You know what I mean? There's going to be another young black male or female going on a trip all white in a cabin somewhere, maybe in a submarine, who knows, and not coming home. That's just how it is, people. Until we all look at these situations like it's us. That's why I make these videos. You know, all that other stuff, whatever, I already know what the outcome is. So it's like, I really don't care. All that other stuff, I know what the outcome is. I know what's going to happen already. We've seen it 100 times, as many kids. Look at Kendrick Johnson. These white people put him in wrestling mats, y'all. 16, 17 years old. Nothing. A white person is not held accountable. They said that he went into these mats. If they got that off, you don't think that they're going to get it off with Nolan Wells, who was out here, decided to go with these people who they're going to say, oh, he was drinking and this and that, whatever. I don't know. That ain't how it go, yo. White people don't break Pell Voltron. And the white people who are popping up, speaking out there, whatever, a white girlfriend or a friend or somebody this, that don't mean nothing at all. They will be shutting up soon. They're not going to go against the grain when that pressure start coming, unless they go move out of town. Like you can say, oh, well, she's moving to Manhattan or something. Now she's speaking. No, if you still going to be there, these people going to shut their mouth. They're going to fall in place. That's the way it is. But my thing is this. It's not time to be playing around. Stop making a noose and handing it over to these people and going out and getting caught up like that. It's bad enough as it is. Anyway, people, easy.